Well, hey there, good morning to you. Welcome to Still Up with 6. We are still practicing social distancing. Chris is joining us from his home. Hey there, Chris.
Hey there, Heidi. Yeah, certainly a lot has changed since we last checked in with you guys at home yesterday on Still Up with 6. The big news, of course, is the stimulus plan that was passed. That means that you'll be getting direct payments at home. We'll get to that in just a second, but Heidi, as we always do, let's kind of do a brief breakdown of the numbers right now.
Yeah, we start off this morning in McLennan County. There have been, since we last talked, 5 new cases, bringing the total to 28. Brazos County now up to 21 cases. Bell County has 19 positive cases, so that's one more than what we saw yesterday. This actually includes an employee at Bird Creek Burger Company. Croyal County reporting its first case, a patient in Coppers Cove. Those numbers right now on your screen.
Okay, let's get right down to it, right down to the money right now. The breakdown of the different types of payments you will be getting. So, of course, we know the Senate passed this last night. If you earn $75,000 or less a year, you will get a check for $1,200. Couples who make $150,000 or less will receive $2,400. And if you have kids, you're going to get an extra $500 per child. Of course, those payments do scale down if you make more than $75,000. And anyone out there who makes $99,000 or more, you will not be getting a paycheck. That goes for, as well, couples without children who make more than $198,000 together.
Yeah, and that's the full breakdown of those checks. No word yet on when those checks will be distributed, but you can now see we have a little bit more details as to how much each person will be getting, how much families will be getting, and where it stops, where the payments stop, and where they scale down if you make more than the $75,000. That's all on your screen, but I think this has been a big question for us for the past couple of days here on Still Up with 6 is what we know about this stimulus package. So I'm glad that we finally have some numbers to report for people at home.
Yeah, certainly we have a clear picture of the breakdown of this, and now people can start to possibly plan how they're going to utilize that money. So many people are just scraping by to make ends meet, so this will certainly be helpful for a lot of different people who have been affected by this, whether you're in the service industry and your job has been terminated, whether your hours have been cut in certain industries. So I think this will be very helpful indeed. There have been a lot of questions about different ins and outs of this, and I want to kind of go over revisit our Verify this morning. There are some Facebook posts, some tweets, and even some text messages of people getting links to claiming it's from FEMA. And that if you click that link, you can get your payment immediately. We want to remind people at home that is absolutely not the case. That is for sure a scam. What you're going to be doing is putting out your official information, your personal information. You have to wait for an official source, and then we'll get a clear idea of when these will be distributed and how they will be distributed. Certainly, I read last night that if the IRS has your direct deposit information on file, that being if you filed your taxes this year online, that you will be able to get your payment faster than others that possibly did it through the mail.
Yeah, and I think you brought up the point that there are still 2 questions that are unanswered at this time. We finally figured out the ins and outs of the money and the payments and who will get it, but we don't know when and how. So that's the 2 questions that remain unknown, and I think we're going to learn more about that later today. On Capitol Hill, they're expected to meet again to figure out the ins and outs, and I think those are the details that we still are figuring out. But we are getting the first look at what these payments will look like. We asked you guys all morning long if you guys are satisfied with the amount that you will be getting based off your income and your household. A majority of people who voted on our live poll, which is still active on the 6 News app and on our website, have said yes, they are satisfied. So I'm just glad that people are being appreciative of this check that's going to be on the way soon, because it is important to remember there are a lot of people who are not working. Chris, you and I were very fortunate. We still are getting paid and we're able to pay our bills with our normal paychecks, but a lot of Americans are without a job right now.
Yeah, certainly they are, and that's why this was so important that we had a bipartisan effort to get this passed. Also, some updates to a couple things that we said yesterday. Of course, there's a lot of questions about some of the shelter-in-place orders that have been put in place in counties across Central Texas. A lot of questions about how to report people who you don't think or businesses that you don't think are in compliance. Yesterday, I did say to contact authorities. We want to remind people there's a specific number. You know, you're not calling the emergency line. You're going to call actually this is for compliance issues. 254-319-0796. And just for general questions that you might have, this is in McLennan County. For general questions that you might have, 254-750-1890. So we want to remind people, do not call the emergency line if you think that a business or a person is out of compliance with the shelter-in-order place. We know it's important that people do shelter in place, but of course our first responders need those lines cleared for any real emergencies, pressing emergencies that might happen.
I'm glad we were able to get an update on that, because I know a lot of people were asking that yesterday, Chris. And if you guys missed the number that Chris just gave out, or the two numbers he gave out, you can head to our website. They're posted there for you if you guys want to make a complaint. Let's see if some of the comments here are coming in. What good is money going to do when you can't even find the necessities you need at this time because of hoarders? I get for bills, but what about food and such? So Amy's making a good point. I think our local stores, H-E-B, Kroger, all the other Sam's Club are doing the best that they can to restock as quickly as possible, which is why, of course, we've told you guys about some of the hours that have changed for the stores. There are a lot of stores that are doing the best that they can. I get that it's really hard to find some necessities, but now that they've put limits on some of the items that you can buy at H-E-B, there's more stock for people, and people can't hoard. As we know, when people panicked, they started hoarding, and that's not what you should do.
Yeah, absolutely. Angie's given some good advice to Amy here. She said she's placed a few different orders for curbside pickup through H-E-B. They've had everything I needed, so maybe that's an option. Of course, curbside pickup right now certainly is the safer option when it goes to your grocery stores. I think that as we start to see more stores moving towards item limits, we're hopefully going to see more of the items that you need be stocked up. So, Amy, I'm sorry that you're not able to find the necessities right now. Hopefully, as we put more of these policies in place, that will start to change. And then Twyla is asking if we can post those numbers. If we could get the person who's running the live stream right now and does the web stories, if you could just grab those numbers and post them there to Twyla for the McLennan County helplines and all of the different helplines across Central Texas for people who either want to report or have questions about what's going on.
Marion's asking, will these funds be for the individuals who receive disability or retirement? That's a good question, Marion.
Yeah, and it remains to be seen. Right now, we assume, of course, if your disability or your retirement would be probably significantly less than the $99,000 cap or the $75,000 salary cap. My guess, Marion, is you will be receiving one of these payments. Of course, $2.2 trillion is a huge amount of money. So my guess is that you will be receiving some sort of payment. Certainly if people who are still on salary jobs and getting that kind of payment are eligible for this, then you should be able to too. So I wouldn't see any reason as to why individuals who receive disability or retirement would be not eligible to receive that check.
Well, that is a good question, Marion. Thank you for leaving that. And of course, there's a full breakdown of the numbers on your screen if you're missing the numbers as we speak here on Still Up with 6. And Marion, we actually just linked something, a breakdown for you, so you can see if you will be getting a check.
Pancho says there's so much added pork in that bill, the president shouldn't sign it. He is expected to sign it, I believe, and I think that whether or not there's some added stipulations in the bill, as there is in so many different bills, unfortunately, on Capitol Hill, the priority right now will be to sign this and get money into the hands of Americans. Francis asking, is this money for all households? I understand for people who lost their jobs, but for those still able to work, did they receive the money too? Yes, it is our understanding, Francis, that as long as you're an American and you have a salary, whether you're in work or out of work, you will be receiving those payments. It would be too lengthy to try to go through and determine who and who does not have a job right now or who has been affected in terms of hourly by their employment.
And Laura says, if you're married but haven't filed taxes yet, how do they classify individual or married? Well, it's going to be $1,200 a person, and then if you're a married couple, it's $2,400. So that's the breakdown for that.
Okay, so she's asking, for example, I married April of 2019, but haven't filed my 2019 tax return. Laura, I'll do some research for you to get back to you entirely, but my assumption would be, based on what I've been reading, is that they will base it then off of your previous year's tax return. So you might be getting a check for $1,200, and your husband might also be getting a separate check for $1,200. So you'd still be getting that same amount of money if you are under that salary cap. It would just be separately.
That's a great question, though. Let's see other comments here this morning. Chris, do you see any standing out?
VA disability doesn't pay taxes. How will they receive payment, or will they? I assume that the IRS is working through some kind of disability there. Hannah, you should be still in the system. I would imagine that they've gone over the details, so they're not overlooking an entire demographic of people. So I wouldn't be too concerned, but we're going to have more details about exactly what this is going to look like coming out here today, certainly, and in the coming days as well. But Hannah, I wouldn't be too concerned. If you're VA disability and you don't pay taxes, you will probably receive some sort of payment. I'm sure that we're taking care of that.
And Danny said, does my wife who doesn't have a job qualify for the check? I believe she does.
Yes, I think this is every American. So obviously your wife doesn't have a job, which means she doesn't have a salary, which means that her salary would fall under that $75,000 cap. So yes, your wife would qualify for a check here.
And then we're working to get Twyla those numbers right now, who wants the numbers for the non-compliance phone numbers there. And for anyone who needs them, we'll be sharing them shortly.
And Twyla, you know what? I've got them right here. If you've got a pen and paper, I can share them for you right now. So Twyla, for general questions, the number is 254-750-1890. And if you want to report businesses that are out of compliance, that number is 254-319-0796.
Cassandra says, I got laid off April 2019, been looking for a job since. I don't qualify, ? Cassandra, you do, because your salary right now is under the $75,000 cap.
We're also, as part of this $2.2 trillion bill, Cassandra, if you are on unemployment, there's going to be extended unemployment benefits there. That's part of this as well. Jamie says, what about college students? It is my understanding that you will also be receiving that check. Rachel's saying, what if I filed married but have been since separated? That is kind of a gray area, Rachel, but I think that right now, if you filed as married and you haven't officially divorced on paper, I assume that payment will come as a married couple.
So many good comments coming in right now. I know there's a lot of questions surrounding this relief package, and there's going to be for the next couple of days as we continue to learn more about the ins and outs of it. But right now, I think we're starting to get a clearer picture of the numbers, which was one of the most important questions. And now it comes down to, do I qualify? Who qualifies? Unemployment, taxes, other things like that. So there's a lot of good questions, so keep them coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have to kind of wrap up here on Still Up with 6. We'll be back tomorrow morning to answer your questions. And, of course, we are on air from 4:30 to 7 a.m. We've got more detailed breakdowns of everything that's going on, up to date as they happen, of course, our Verify segment. And, of course, we're still trying to make you smile throughout the morning. So keep sending those positive stories as we continue to look for the good in the world.
That is right. And if you have somebody that you want to highlight on our show, we'd love to hear their story, what they're doing for our community during this pandemic. It's all about helping each other out. So thank you guys so much for you guys helping each other out, helping spread the right information, and we'll continue to do this every single morning and answer your questions. But until tomorrow morning, hope everyone has a great Thursday. We'll see you guys tomorrow.